This video right here is about how we mentally construct and reflect everything in our lives, people, places, and things, whether they are positive or negative towards us. Now, before I start this video, I have to make my favorite line. We are not these bodies, because that understanding is going to be prevalent once again in this bill. Now, understanding that we are not these bodies, but we are light entities inhabiting these physical shells in order to have a physical experience, we understand that we attract all things to us by our thoughts as we inwardly direct them towards ourselves. Now, what does this mean? Not only is your environment a reflection of your mentality, but the people in your life are also a reflection of your mentality. Now, in this video, we're going to be dealing with relationships and experiences, particularly your boyfriend or your girlfriend, or your husband or your wife, or your king or your queen, or God or goddess, whatever you want to call it, as well as your friends or anybody that you can have a relationship with, because relationships don't have to just be sexual or like dating. They can be friendships, you know, father, mother, sister, brother, uncle, niece, any type of relationship that you have with a human being in your personal life. Because you have individual relationships, such as family, friends, and lovers, and then you have global relationships, which is how you relate to the world. So now your individual relationships as well as your global relationship, but just focusing in here on your individual personal relationship. Anybody in your personal life is a direct reflection of what you think about yourself. For example, let's say a relationship. Let's say females, I'm gonna use y'all. Let's say females, you in a relationship with a man who is abusive or verbally abusive, or physically abusive or verbally abusive, or just doesn't treat you correctly. You attracted a man to you, and you wonder why, because the number one question females ask themselves is, why can't I find a good man? You can't find a good man because mentally you have not got on a frequency with yourself that is positive. You are only attracting that which you secretly or subconsciously not even aware of, that you think about yourself. Somewhere within yourself, you treat yourself exactly how that man in your life treats you. If he physically abuses you, or verbally abuses you, or degrades you in any type of way, it's because mentally or spiritually there is a part of yourself which is abusing yourself. And all you have done is manifested a physical counterpart to show you what you are doing to yourself on a subconscious level. People in our lives are just reflections of who we believe we are and what we believe we deserve. For example, if you're not a pedophile, you never hang with a pedophile, because it doesn't reflect your mentality. Let alone would you allow him to do something sexual to you. So now, as a black queen, if you didn't degrade yourself mentally, verbally, or physically, you wouldn't attract someone who does that to you. And then if you did become aware that they do that to you, you wouldn't stay with that person unless you agreed somewhere within yourself that what is being done to you is okay. Because unless you agree with something, you would never allow it to happen. I don't believe in pedophilia, so therefore you better not try it around me. But if I did, I would let it go on. If I honestly believed that I was worthy and I was royal, let's hypothetically speak and say I'm a woman. If I believed that I was a queen, a goddess, the creator of all life, and I believed that I deserved the utmost respect, I would not be with somebody who treated me with anything less, unless there was a part of me inside myself which believed that I was worthy of what I was being subjected to, the treatment I was being subjected to. So when we look at men, if you hang with 30 motherfuckers and they all got pistols, that's because they're a reflection of you. You condone that type of behavior, as even I once did. But using myself as an example, as soon as I switch my mentality, I don't have none of my old friends as friends anymore, because they no longer reflect how I feel and look at myself. People in our lives are in our lives to show us who we have come to believe we are. So, when, just like black people, Muslims don't go to Christian church because they don't reflect the same mentality, and vice versa. Black people, everybody in our life is a reflection of who we believe we are and accept. If you're not a crackhead, you won't be in a crack house, period. If you are, you'll be with crackheads, because they are reflections of their own inner self. So when we dealing with our lives, everybody needs to, after watching this video, look at everybody in their life and say, do I approve of you? Whoever that person may be, And if so, what about you that is being negatively done to me am I doing to myself? Am I allowing you to degrade me or put me in harmful situations because truthfully, secretly, I degrade myself and put myself in harmful situations? How? It could be something as simple as not doing what you know you should do. Eating foods that you know you shouldn't eat. Always being pessimistic instead of optimistic, which means seeing the glass is half empty instead of half full. It could be small things, it could be big things. All we need to understand is people in our lives are direct reflections of how we think about ourselves. You will only allow somebody to treat you how you feel you're worthy of being treated. Period. Now, why is this important? Because as a black person, we live up to the expectations of every other, I'm going to say race here, even though we know it's one race, just to relate to the people, I'm going to say race, of every other race, but yet we fail to set our own standards of who we are, let alone live according to our ancestors' standards. So now when we live in white supremacy America sets the lowest standards and expectations of black people. And we, by being mentally indoctrinated and accepting this, we now internally see ourselves as the bare bar minimum. So now we live our lives always getting the shitty end of the stick and doing the bare bar minimum. So what we got to understand, black people, is once again, people in our lives are direct reflections of ourselves. But now we have to ask ourselves, who is it that is teaching us how to look at ourselves? So now when we live in this world which has been infected with white supremacy, we have to be honest with ourselves. The mental views and expectations placed upon black people are not even by black people. And then we wonder why we get treated the worst. Because we're living up to the expectations of the slave master in white supremacy. There is no ifs, ands, or buts around it. When you can become, I'll give you an example. Black man, black woman, you might fist fight, verbal fight to the death in the house with your counterpart. You don't go to court and tell the judge to shut the fuck up. But you would tell your black man or you tell your black woman, shut the fuck up, call her a bitch. But you won't call the police a bitch. And they blatantly doing you wrong. So the point I'm trying to make is our mental expectations of each other has been set in disgust and disrespect and disregard for each other. But for the Caucasian and the rest of the world, we have the most high respect and expectations for them. Why? Because internally we look at ourselves as less and we look at them as more. There is no way around this. There is no way to sugarcoat this fact. We have been mentally installed to believe that everybody else other than us is greater than us and better at everything than us. For example, right now if I say, who's the best karate fighter? The average indoctrinated person goes say, oh, Chinese man, Bruce Lee, da-da-da-da-da. Ignorant to the fact that Africans, our ancestors, created martial arts. Why? Because our expectations and our view upon ourselves has been taught to be the bare bar minimum and give somebody else the credit. When we say who's the most intelligent, oh, white people, they deal with science and they got technology and da-da-da-da-da. Ignorant to the fact that we created all of that shit. Everything that they got in the hospital, they took all of them, all the surgery, medical tools, everything that they use today in the hospital, even the medical symbols, we know that they stole from Egypt. They came out of the pyramids with actual surgical instruments. But we've been taught that we're the bare bar minimum in this field and that the Caucasian is the expert in these things. So our expectations that we live up to are not even those of our own. And why is this important? Because we are creating a realm, y'all. You have to understand, your mind creates the realm. As long as we continue to look at ourselves negatively inward, that which is outward, aka our physical environment, and the people that we attract in it will continue to dominate us because we are been taught to self-dominate ourselves. So black man, as long as your woman don't respect you and keep talking to you crazy and kicking you out, it's because you are doing the bare bar minimum with yourself. You have just attracted somebody to show you how you actually treat yourself and feel about yourself. Black woman, as long as your black man keep cheating on you and getting other women pregnant and he's not in a polygamous relationship, or he's being verbally or physically violent towards you, it's because you just attracted somebody who's showing you how you really feel about yourself. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't go for it. And as long as white America keeps disrespecting us and killing us with our hands up and lying to our kids in school and forcing us to accept bullshit, black people, it's because they just showing us how we really feel about ourselves. How the fuck in 2016 we know damn well these fools have lied about education and we still send our kids to public school? Black people, that's because inwardly we don't care about our own self. See, everybody is just a reflection of you. It's like a mirror. There's no such thing as there's no such thing as any of that history shit these Caucasians teach. But yet we allow our children to be indoctrinated. Why? Because we send our kids off to the white man to educate them with lies. Because he's just a reflection of ourselves. We, our whole lives, have allowed him to educate us with those lies, and we don't care. So we send our children off now because we don't care. As long as we say, as much as we say we do, because if we did care, they wouldn't be going to school. They would be getting homeschooled, or we will be boycotting schools across America until they switch the fucking education to the truth. So with that being said, getting back on task. Everybody in our lives is a reflection of how we think about ourselves. If you're not a stripper, you won't hang with strippers because you don't think like a stripper. If you're not a pimp, you won't hang with pimps. If you're not a victim of white supremacy, you never let white supremacy victimize you. If you don't feel that you deserve to be degraded, you never let nobody degrade you. Period. The people in our lives are just being mentally attracted to us. Because we attract that which we like, which is alike. We attract that which we agree with. And everybody in your life, you have attracted and have allowed them in your life in order to show you how you feel about your own self. So the way people treat you is the way you treat yourself. Period. And with that being said, family, in order to change the world, we have to change ourselves. That sounds corny, but that is the truth. Because your mind, that which is not material, manifests the physical, aka that which is material. So when we change our minds and the way we think about ourselves, this world has no choice but to change as well. So with that being said, if your woman doesn't look at you as a god, or your man doesn't look at you as a god, then they have the incorrect mental understanding of who you are. If the white man, whether it be the Pope, CIA, FBI, police, the white man up the street, if he don't look at you and say that's a god or a goddess walking up the street, let me respect them, and they are the creator of all that I have, then they have the incorrect mental understanding of who you are. And until everybody have the correct mental understanding of who we are as black people again, let alone black people again have the correct mental understanding of who we are, we will continue to be oppressed because we are the ones who are ignorantly and unconsciously creating a world which is oppressing us. Because we've been slipped a Mickey. We've been slipped the mind virus, and we won't get it out. So until we get the mind virus out and start projecting positivity back on ourselves, that all that negativity that we secretly feel about ourselves is going to keep reminding us until we change it. So with that being said, family, change your mind, change your mentality, and help change the reality of the globe back to its proper rank and file.